What is going on, everybody? What is going on? The Catch fam. Hope you guys are doing phenomenal tonight. Hope everyone has had a great Saturday. Boy, oh boy, here we are. Sunday's slate for week 4 kicking off tomorrow. And everyone's hurt. Everyone's injured, but we actually got some good news today in terms of injuries. But we still have a lot of question marks going in to week 4 of the 2024 fantasy football season. So, you know what we need to do. Live fantasy Q&A, anything that you guys need, start, sits, trades, roster reviews, or whatever it may be. Hop in the live chat. Let's talk some fantasy football. Let's have some fun. Okay. So let's just hop right into it tonight, guys. Like I said, whatever you guys need, any fantasy football questions for the week, get it going, and let's see what we can come up with. But all right, Chris Olave considered a game time decision. We talked about Chris Olave last night, and on that note, I'm assuming Alvin Kamara is still questionable as well. But let's take a look at Kamara. Yeah, he's still listed as questionable. The hip and rib injury. And we have Chris Olave, the report now indicating that he's officially a game time decision. So those are two pretty important players for your roster if you own them. It's a 1:00 game, so we should know early tomorrow. Saints are on the road here. That could impact some things. It's not necessarily great, but you just got to have a plan B. I mean, so many injuries to running backs this year, but we'll have to keep a close eye on Olave and Kamara as the night continues to progress and then into tomorrow as well. Here's an interesting one. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers added Rachaad White to the injury report with an illness. So he's questionable. And last I checked, Bucky Irving was also still questionable with that hamstring injury. Yeah, he's still listed as questionable. So that game is a 1:00 game as well. So that's a little bit of a doozy, you know. Is Bucky going to play? Is Rachaad White going to play? Right now, we don't know. A.J. Brown is out. Devonta Smith is out. I guess we're starting Dallas Goedert and Saquon Barkley. I mean, geez. I'm not trusting any of these Eagles wide receivers this week. And probably knowing the way things work, one of them is probably going to pop off, right? I mean, probably not. This is a very bad Eagles wide receiver room behind their 2 primary starters. So, I mean, what's the ceiling here? Like for Jahan Dotson? Because we saw Britton Covey start to make some plays, and he's hurt. That shoulder injury. Maybe it's Johnny Wilson. But are we really going to start an Eagles receiver? No, but gross situation. Okay, this one's interesting too. Justin Herbert is expected to start this weekend. I had a feeling they were going to try and push for Justin Herbert to play because this is a divisional game against their biggest divisional opponent, the Kansas City Chiefs. So I'm not ultimately too surprised that Herbert's playing, but I'm really worried about Herbert going into this matchup with Chris Jones in his face all game. I mean, Herbert was already a sit for me regardless going into the week, but Herbert's still 100% a sit, even in like a super flex format. I in no way whatsoever want to start Justin Herbert at all. So we'll see what happens there, but I'm worried about Herbert's health. The Chargers really need this week 5 bye week. Big one, Jordan Love is expected to return to a starting lineup. So I do think this is a little like, I don't know. I was almost hoping Jordan Love would sit out this week. Because and this is similar, right? I had a feeling they were going to push for Jordan Love to play as well, because once again, this is a divisional opponent. It's an important game because the Vikings are atop of that division right now. Right now, they're the number one seed. If the Super Bowl happened this weekend, it'd be the Steelers and the Vikings. But so I'm not surprised that Jordan Love's being, pushed to play and everything. I thought maybe they'd give it one more week because week 5, you come back against the Rams and you get the Cardinals in week 6. You get these softer defenses. But I get it too. Gets a big contract in the offseason, But Malik Willis is playing well. Like, they won both games with Malik Willis. But being a divisional game against the Vikings, I'm not surprised he's expected to play. Being that he almost played in week 3 too. But from a fantasy perspective, I don't love Jordan Love, no pun intended, this week. I'm a little bit worried about his ceiling here against this Vikings defense. So we'll see how it impacts you guys. But I was almost hoping he'd sit out one more week because then he'd be a for sure start. Like, feels like he had more time to rest, get ready, then he plays the Rams. Now he's playing the Vikings, and this is arguably the best defense in the league right now. Let me know how that impacts you guys if you are Jordan Love owners. Kenneth Walker's off this week's injury report. He will play Monday night versus the Lions. It's still a bad matchup, guys. The Lions giving up the fewest fantasy points to running backs right now, but I think if you own Kenneth Walker, you're probably starting him because it's Kenneth Walker, Zach Charbonnet does get downgraded to a sit for me. I know he was fine week 1 with Kenneth Walker in, but nah, that's how I feel against the Lions. All right, and then very quickly, well, actually, we got 2 more. So Sam Laporta is expected to play against the Seahawks in that same matchup. So, I guess we're starting Sam Laporta. Like, what else? You're gonna play Brenton Strange? You're gonna play Zach Ertz? Like, tight ends this year. Oh my gosh. The earliest I went in drafts, in terms of drafting a tight end was like the Kyle Pitts, Jake Ferguson type area, David Njoku type area. And I am so glad to not take any tight ends earlier than that, because this season has been awful, but there's still plenty of time. So yeah, I guess if you own Sam Laporta, you're probably just rolling him out there. I guess it depends on who else you have, but trying to check here. The Seahawks have been very bad against tight ends, giving up the 8th most fantasy points to the position. So yeah, I think if you own Laporta, yeah, just roll with it. And then last but not least, before I get to your guys' questions here, Tyler Huntley will be starting for the Dolphins. This one is also like, I don't know. Is this going to make us trust Waddle and Hill? Maybe A-Chain as well, if you're thinking about benching him. Huntley and Waddle worked out like in the offseason, so apparently they have some chemistry. I think I'm okay. Like, Waddle and Hill are still in that flex area, but I guess I feel better. Let me know in the chat. Do you feel better? This is why, like, some of these updates for tonight, I'm like, oh my gosh, like, Jordan Love, it's the Vikings. Has he actually had enough time to rest? Rashad White, Bucky Irving, both on the injury report. Can't start any Eagles wide receivers. Herbert's playing, but like, do we feel good about any Chargers player offensively this weekend? No. Kenneth Walker's going to play, but he's going up against the worst matchup possible. It's like, these are just gross updates. All right. Let's hop into it, ladies and gentlemen. Chase, hello. What is up? Good to see you. Haas, ayo. Tommy, what up? Craig, A-Rich, Purdy, Fields. That's an interesting one. I feel like, and I get early in the season doing this, and I get kind of closer to the playoffs doing this, but rostering like this many quarterbacks is just such a, it's such a headache, man. I'm not starting Anthony Richardson this weekend against the Steelers, who've given up 2 touchdowns on the season and the fewest fantasy points to quarterbacks, when Richardson has thrown 5 interceptions in the last 2 games. I just can't do it. I think Fields is fine. But once again, Fields, his upside this season is only so high. This could be the game where he kind of pops against the Colts. They've been really bad against the run. And I think Purdy's fine. The Patriots 15th against the quarterback position, so right in the middle. Like, I don't think he's going to do what he did last week, particularly against the Patriots, being that the Rams are just god-awful defensively. But it's probably a coin flip between Purdy and Fields for me. I mean, Kittle's back, so that's good news for Purdy. Still got Jennings and Ayuk and Mason, so there's enough there. I personally probably just start Purdy. Geno or Purdy? I probably just go Purdy. I mean, I believe in Purdy. I kind of feel like Purdy's one of these quarterbacks that if you drafted, like, you kind of just take what you can get, unless it's like starting to get really, really bad. But yeah, I'd probably just go Purdy. I think the system, the offense, still allows him to at least have that upside. I mean, he's right now. Geno's the QB 13. Like, if you want to go Geno, it's fine, Chase. I will say that I think the Lions are going to force the Seahawks to throw the football. That's what they want to do. They're very good against the run. They have been better against the pass, but they're still giving up a lot of fantasy points to wide receivers. So, and I mean, they're 18th against quarterbacks. So, like, they're not good. They're not bad. They're right there in the middle. So, if you want to go Geno, sure. I'd probably start Purdy. But I'm a Purdy believer. You guys know that. All right. 24K Lightning. Thank you for the super chat. Appreciate it. Remember, if you guys want something answered right away, you can send a super chat. I have a conundrum for this week. Don't we all? I'm in a half PPR league with 3 wide receivers and 1 flex. I don't know who to put for my flex, Hill or Pollard. Yeah, this is a tough one, man. I can definitely see why this is a conundrum for you. And it is more interesting here because it's half PPR. I do feel a little bit better about Tyreek Hill now with Tyler Huntley starting at quarterback as opposed to Boyle or, the half corpse of Boyle or Skylar Thompson, But Pollard's got a really good matchup. I mean, this Lions run defense is awful. I mean, they are worse than the Raiders. They are worse than the Panthers. The only team that's given up more points is, or at least going into the week before Thursday Night Football, was the Cowboys, who apparently weren't that bad this past week, of course, once I tell everyone to start Devin Singletary, but I digress. So I really like Pollard in half PPR. Now, if it was full PPR, I'd probably just say start Tyreek Hill. But half PPR, I think I might go Pollard. The Titans giving up the 3rd fewest fantasy points to wide receivers, believe it or not. They do have Snead there at corner, but here's the thing. If you bench Tyreek Hill, like, you're benching Tyreek Hill, like, the upside's always there. It's still Tyreek Hill, So, it is tough there. But I think the safe play is Tony Pollard. Now, maybe if Pollard didn't have as good of a matchup, you maybe look at this differently to say just go Hill, right? But the matchup is just so good. I mean, Zach Charbonnet was one of my must-start running backs last week. He scored 2 touchdowns on this defense. They've been awful. James Cook cooked them the week before. They've just really, really struggled, and it feels like, they have like kind of in a lower expectation of what they're playing for right now. Travis Etienne was pretty good against them, as well as I'm having a total meltdown in my brain. Tank Bigsby. Even Tank Bigsby was good week 1. I was trying to remember Tank Bigsby's name, and all I could think of was Bucky Irving. I'm like, that's not the right. It's a different handcuff, different team. But yeah, the point being, the Dolphins have sucked against a run, and I'd probably just go Pollard. Probably go Pollard now. If you want the upside, go Tyreek Hill. But Let's maybe see it in this circumstance with Huntley to Hill first. Like I said, the Titans have still been good against wide receivers, and on the opposite hand, the Dolphins have been awful against the running back position. So I'm going to say Pollard. And you know what? We don't have a poll question for the night. So half PPR, who ya starting in week 4? We will ask the community. Tyreek, Tony Pollard. Tyreek versus the Titans. We'll even put the matchups. 3rd against the position. Pollard versus the Dolphins. 31st against the position. That is a toughie. That's a toughie. I'm going to say Pollard, though. Look at that. Look at that official poll. All right, everyone hit the like button. Let's keep moving here. 24K Lightning, thank you for the super chat. Hope that was helpful. Try to break it down as extensively as possible. Craig, Moss or London? It's Moss for me. London, I still like. Like, London's probably one of these guys that, especially in full PPR, we start every week, you know? But Moss's matchup, I'm hammering Zach Moss this week. Moss against the Panthers. The Bengals gotta win a football game. But that red rifle might bring them down. London's still a good start. It is a bad matchup for London. I'll go Moss. Lover Gino. See, I don't know where I stand with Love, and I had all day to think about it, and I made no decision. So I think I want to go Gino. But haven't the the line's right there in the middle. Just the Vikings have been so good. I mean, they're giving up the 7th fewest fantasy points to quarterbacks. I think I go Gino. Chuba or Brian Robinson. I'll go Brian Robinson, Jeremy. I really think Brian Robinson is just a weekly start. Like, maybe he's going up against like a top 5 run defense. We look elsewhere. And I do like Chuba this week, but I just think Brian Robinson Jr., like the way this offense is ran, what they want to do, the fact that he's had double digits every week this year, I probably just roll with Brian Robinson. Am I crazy for saying Gino over Jordan Love? For those of you who own Jordan Love, are you starting him this week? Or would you start kind of a lower tier guy like Geno Smith? You know, do you feel fully confident in Jordan Love's health, his ability? And are you okay with him going up against this Vikings defense? Because I'm a little worried myself. Little worried. I think I go Geno. Jordan Mason or Walker. I'll go Jordan Mason. I mean, I just don't love this matchup for Walker. You know, coming off the injury. You know, a lot of the times I don't prefer to start a player coming fresh off of an injury. So and it's the worst possible matchup. Worst possible matchup. So yeah, I'll go Jordan Mason here. I know Mason was disappointing last week, but it was just the Jawan Jennings show. We should have known. But yeah, I'll stick with Mason against the Pats. Just a tough player to bench. But Walker's a tough player to bench too, for what it's worth. Let me check. Patriots giving up the 14th most fantasy points. I just go Jordan Mason. Big deal. What's up? What is your icon? Sit Love. The Vikings defense has been really hard to read for two elite teams that are super physical. Sounds rough for Jordan Love coming off an injury. I mean, that's how I feel, basically. Like, I think super flex, double quarterback, like there's more incentive to start Jordan Love because you guys start two guys. Like, I'm in a league where I had, drafted Lamar, Tua, and Jordan Love. So then I picked up Derek Carr. I've been rolling with him. Still won last week, even with the bad performance. But now I'm kind of like, I might go Jordan Love in that league over Carr. Still start Lamar, obviously, and Tua's not even on my team. It's a 4-bench league. So, but overall, if you feel confident in your lineup, who you're able to roll out at QB1, I think I'm sitting Jordan Love, guys. Carson, loaded up on the Commanders and Cardinals. I got 3 players. Do you think it was a good decision? I mean, I like both these offenses this year. But what I like even more from a fantasy perspective is both these defenses are really bad, which puts their offense in a position where they, need to score points. So that is good. So I don't have a problem with this. Craig says, like the stream. Hit the like button, guys. Do it. Tommy traded Ridley and Mooney. I saw this right before the stream for Debo. I think that was a good trade. Is this vetoable? Vetoable? Is vetoable a word? It's only a word to people who play fantasy football. Is it? I need to look it up right now. Vetoable. No, it's not a word. I'm not making fun of you. I just actually was wondering. No, it is a word. It is a word. I don't know. It's on Wiktionary. What is it? Wiktionary? It is a word. Sorry, Tommy. I spoke too soon. But it doesn't come up like on if you just Google it, like, but here we go. It's an adjective. Capable of being vetoed. It's not just in the fantasy world. From veto plus able. All right. Now that we got that settled. No, this trade should not be vetoed. This trade should not be vetoed. It is not vetoable. No, it's just stupid if your league's. I mean, the only if you're a grown adult playing fantasy football with 11 other grown adults or whatever. The only reason a trade should be vetoed is if it's like pure collusion. Like I was in a league one year where someone got banned because he was selling his players, like literally, a long time ago. Still in that league. That league's been going on forever. But like if you're trading Justin Jefferson and you're getting, someone's trading Justin Jefferson and Jahmyr Gibbs and they're giving away Gabe Davis, that should be vetoed. Like that's just stupid. This trade makes logical sense. I think the Debo side wins. I think it's a great trade for you, but no, it's not. It's not worthy of a veto. I don't even have vetoes in my league. People are way too soft, especially in Dynasty. People are like, you're gonna see a lot of trades. All right, I'll move on. Stro tonight, what's up? Play 2 in PPR. Chuba, Walker, McLaurin. Yeah, I'll bench Walker. Walker, if you have to start Walker, like I know there's a lot of injuries out there, guys. Sure, he can easily. I mean, he's Walker. He can score, but I don't see a high ceiling for Walker on the road against this Lions run defense. So I'll set Walker. Big game for Bowers with Adams out. I mean, I certainly hope so. I certainly hope so. Was a little bit down last week, but yeah, he should see more volume, more targets. So, yeah, and I mean, regardless, you got to start Bowers. It's not debatable. But let's see. What is the matchup? Browns against tight ends. They haven't even been that good. The 19th most fantasy points to the position. So, yeah. Either way, he should be good. Finally got rid of Ridley. Yeah, I think that is a very good trade for you because didn't you just get Mooney off the waivers? You know? Would you play Love or stream Darnold or Dalton? See, that's the other thing is like, because I feel like a lot of people who had Jordan Love are like streaming Darnold. It's not a great matchup for Sam Darnold. Now, Jair Alexander might miss this game, which would help. And like the Packers defense has just been popping off the last 2 weeks. But really, I mean, they were pretty good week 1 too. They lead the league in turnovers. But Jair has 2 of those picks. One week 1, one in week 3, and a touchdown in week 3. He's questionable. He hasn't been trending in the right direction. So, the Packers are defense 11 against quarterbacks on the season, at least fantasy wise. And when I put out these rankings during the stream, it's not like actual NFL rankings. It's just in terms of fantasy points allowed against each position, if that makes sense. Like the Cowboys might not actually be the worst run defense in the league, but they're giving up the most fantasy points to running backs. But I think they are the worst run defense in the league, at least going into the week. They stiffened up a bit Thursday. But sometimes I just clarify that. But yeah, I mean the Packers have been good. Their secondary's been good. Still, I think I would start Darnold or Love over Andy Dalton. I mean, the Packers have 7 interceptions through the first 3 games. And they actually start, the front 7 looked good last week with 8 sacks, but it's like Philly, one thing, although Jalen Hurts has turned the football over a bit this year, but Anthony Richardson in week 2 and then Will Levis in week 3, especially Levis, it's like, well, what's the caliber of quarterbacks we're playing here? No offense, Anthony Richardson owners. Last 2 weeks, he's looked awful, though. I'd probably go Darnold or Love. And I guess I prefer Darnold. I'm not giving up on Sammy D just yet. Should I trade Higgins or Deontay plus Javonte for Evans? No, I mean, sure. Javonte doesn't matter to me. So if you want to upgrade, in theory, sure. But I still prefer kind of the upside boomer bust of Higgins. And like that's kind of the problem right now is we don't really have a full read on Deontay. Like, is Deontay going to come back to earth? Are the Panthers going to come back to earth? Is Andy Dalton going to come back to earth? Sure. If it depends on the rest of the roster, but it's like it's a little bit linear, and you kind of lose. You don't really lose depth, I guess. It's fine. It's fine. I don't care about Javonte, so. Not a smart decision against Chiefs, says Carson. Chiefs a beast team, even if I'm a Niners fan. Yeah, in regards to Herbert. And I think with Herbert, Jordan Love, if these weren't divisional opponents this week, I don't think they'd be playing. But, you got to put your foot all the way on the gas pedal if you're playing a divisional opponent. Axis, trade question full PPR. I get Jacobs and Muth. He gets Monty, Braylon, and Randall Robinson. I have Ingram, but he's out. Team is Mixon, Monty, Najee, Akers, Braylon, Jay Jettis, DK, Deontay, Dell, Randall, Myers. I feel like I would hold. I Monty is as good, if not better, than Jacobs. Now I know it's kind of hard to like gauge what we're gonna like what Jacobs is because Jordan Love's been hurt. But Monty's like the RB6 right now. Randall Robinson's been good. Braylon is a very strong handcuff who has some value, standalone value. Like I just don't think pushing the envelope here just to get Freiermuth is worth it. Like Freiermuth's ceiling is still super low. I think he's like the tight end, like 11-ish. Let's see. Okay, he's fallen back. Tight end 18. But yeah, he hasn't scored more than 7.9 points. Like you can find 7 or 8 points on the waiver wire until Evan Ingram's back. So yeah, I would not do this trade. No. Alan, thoughts on Debo? I mean, I'm still good with Debo. Nothing wrong with Debo. He's just been hurt. Yeah. Are we like starting Debo this week? It's going to depend on if has he been ruled out. He's still questionable. If Debo plays, you fire him up. Maybe you found, players in the meantime that can fill in, and Debo fills in as a flex here. But Debo's fine with me. Are you potentially thinking about starting Debo this week and worried about it? If you are, I wouldn't be worried about Debo. Tommy agreed Jordan Love should sit one more game. Yeah, he's going to have some good painkillers. That's for sure. No, I mean, he'll be good. But yeah, it's a divisional. I'm telling you, if it wasn't a divisional game for Herbert, Jordan Love, they probably wouldn't be playing. Space Ghost, it makes it to where I should flex Reed over Najee. Yeah, like we're going to get a better game script because Jordan Love is playing. So, yes. I was wondering when Jaden Reed would come up tonight. Jaden Reed, I would still play. That's the advantage of PPR, right? Is even if technically Jordan Love doesn't have a great game, Jaden Reed can still have a great game. Vikings are good against wide receivers, but not great. 17th, right in the middle. So, yeah. Najee's a great start, though. Against the Colts. Craig says Najee's a smash start. I do really like Najee this weekend. This should be the first game where we see Najee score. But I also still don't trust the Steelers offense. So it's a great matchup. The upside is with Jaden Reed. Likely or Laporta, I'll go Laporta. Give me Laporta. Good matchup. He's playing. Whatever. Take it. Monday Night Football. Sure. Let's go Laporta. Likely hasn't done anything since week 1. You're welcome, Chase. Watson or Shaheed if I have to sit Olave. I don't really like Shaheed as a standalone wide receiver 1. Falcons have been pretty good. 13th against wide receivers. That's not much lower than the Vikings, though. Watson, I mean, oh gosh. That's the thing is like you're kind of looking at a boom or bust situation no matter what. So I guess Shaheed because the volume should be better if Olave sits. I guess Shaheed. No, he's going to play as a wide receiver 1 where Watson's playing as wide receiver 3, I guess, behind Dobbs and Reed. Dalton, week 4 lineup. We got Fields, Moore, Evans, Monty, Pollard, Fryermuth, McLaurin, Chris Boswell, and Houston defense. Looks pretty good to me. Thoughts? Yeah, I like Fields this week against the Colts. Should, in theory, be a game where Fields actually does something more. I mean, offense has been opening up slowly, but I think this could be a game where you see Fields actually do something more, start to pop a little bit like we have seen Fields do in the past. Moore, Evans, fine, studs. Great matchup for DJ Moore. It should be another game similar. I mean, like, we should see DJ Moore actually pop this week due to matchup. Monty and Pollard, studs. Pollard's got a great matchup. Fryermuth, fine. McLaurin, I am a little worried about Terry. Like, we've had the one good game. So maybe I'm a little bit cautious, but he's a great flex play. Yeah. Looks good to me. Boswell, Houston defense, great. Is Miami defense still a good start? Yeah, they're still fine. They're still fine. Like, I know some people were really high on them in going into this week, and I'm okay with that. But just keep in mind, like, they haven't been great. It's just the fact that they're playing Will Levis. But they've gone 7 points, 0 points, 7 points on the year. They only have 3 turnovers. So I think they're fine. Just because Will Levis has a lost fumble and at least 1 pick in every game and 2 picks in 2 games. So, yes, they're fine. But they also are not like a fantastic defense. They just have a good matchup. Sitting Waddle another week to see first. Will he be closer to Tua or Skyler? We'll see. We shall see. Yeah, people like the Titans defense, and I liked them going into the week. They made the video, but maybe I like them less because Tyler Huntley's playing. I just hate this game. This Dolphins Titans game I already hate. Huntley could help A-Chain. Sorry, guys. Yeah, I mean, Huntley can't help Waddle, Hill, A-Chain. It can't be much worse, right? You know, it can't be much worse. Ray Gamer, Vikings defense, Saints defense, Titans. I'll go. I still think, like, if you have the Vikings, just roll with the Vikings. I mean, this is the highest scoring defense in fantasy right now. And, like, maybe I'd feel different if they had played the Titans, the Giants, and the Bears, or, like, but they haven't. They've played good teams. So the fact that they've gotten that done against, I mean, the Giants, they did play the Giants 1 week. My bad. Forgot about that. It was 3 weeks ago. My bad. But they play the Niners and the Texans. They've had double digits every single week. So I think I just roll with the Vikings, but I do like the Saints too. Started Dunze, Worthy, Mooney, or Leggett. Honestly, I just take the matchup and I would start Roma Dunze. I mean, the Rams secondary isn't the worst in the league, but they sure feel like they're the worst. So I just go with Dunze. I go Dunze, Mooney, Worthy, Leggett. Joe, what's up, man? Jeffrey, happy PPR. Should I draft Yoshi and drop Tank Dell? Depends on your record. If you need help right now, roll with Yoshi. Someone got really mad in the comments on today's video because I kept calling him Yoshi. But that's what everyone calls him. But yeah, if you want to pick up Andre Yoshiavis, see, that's why I just call him Yoshi. I don't know that I would drop Tank Dell necessarily, though. That's probably, I think Yoshi's a good play for now. Great touchdown upside where that hasn't really been there for Tank Dell. First 2 weeks, Tank Dell was awful. So I still like Dell. I'm not going to give up on Tank Dell. Diggs goes down or Collins goes down. We're going to see a lot more out of Tank Dell on a regular basis. So, and he's just tied to good offense. I don't think I'd drop Tank Dell, but if you need help, Yoshi's a good pickup for sure. Should start the Raiders defense? Don't start the Raiders defense. No. This defense sucks. And Watson still sucks, but he was better. was better last week. I don't know how he did this. He finally okay. Watson didn't actually have any turnovers week 2. He just looked so stale. But week 1 he threw 2 picks. Then week 3 he had no picks but 2 lost fumbles. So no, the Raiders defense is so bad. Like the Titans defense is not great. And maybe Huntley is, gives us more hope for their offense than Boyle or Thompson, but I would rather play the Titans defense here. Jennings or Ayuk? I mean, hey, I will admit here, your guess is as good as mine. You might as well flip a coin. The ceilings with Jennings, the floors with Ayuk. Honestly, for my roster, I'd probably just start Ayuk, but I have just such a bad feeling like Jennings going to come out and have like 3 catches this week and 30 yards. Like that's it. Like I don't know. Chat. Would you start Ayuk or Jennings? And once again, in standard, Ayuk, Jennings, or Deontay. Well, in standard, you want to go for the touchdown upside. And I guess arguably volume. Doesn't feel like it, but the Bengals giving up the 9th fewest fantasy points to wide receivers. I'll say Ayuk. Give me the volume. What do we do with Jennings and Ayuk here? Kittle's back too. Honestly, if it was my roster, I'm just boring. I would start Ayuk. I'm boring though. Inceptivus, what's up, bro? Which tight end would you start this week? Ertz, Gesicki, or Komet? I'll take Komet against the Rams, but these guys are all fine. They're all fine starts. But yeah, I'll take Komet against the Rams. Andrews, Conklin, Strange asks, Lex plant some trees. Sorry, can't talk. Once again, this tier of tight ends. I mean, I can't believe I'm saying this with Andrews involved, but it is crazy. You're hoping for a touchdown or high volume, so like the tight end position is just so bad this year that I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Like your guess is as good as mine. I mean, I'm of course happy to give you guys my thoughts and who I would probably end up starting, but you could see Andrews have a goose egg, Conklin have 4 points, and Strange have 9 points, or any of those reversed to any player here. It's like tight end play has just been so bad and the ceiling's so low. Where do the Bills come in against the position? Let me see. Honestly, I'd probably just start Mark Andrews. The Bills are bottom 12 against the position. I like this game script. I think we're going to see points scored. I think I just go Andrews here. One more week. Just give me one more week. Wilson, Trey Tucker, Akers, Kirk, or Pittman. I'd probably go Michael Wilson against the Commanders. Do we have an update on Joe Mixon? I really thought Joe Mixon was ruled out yesterday, and he wasn't. No, he's just still listed as questionable. Akers is a super strong start against the Jaguars if Mixon sits. So you could consider him. I think Kirk's okay. Don't trust Pittman. Tucker's more of a desperation start, so I go Michael Wilson. Pay attention to the Akers situation. Sport Dog. 18 PPR Superflex. Need a quarterback. Lover Caleb. Could also pick up Sammy D. Give me the matchup against the Rams. Let's just go Caleb Williams. I'm going to leave it at that. 10-team full PPR. Start Hurts, Jaden Daniels, Chuba, or McLaurin. It's usually always Hurts, but no Devonta, no AJ Brown. It is just the Bucks. Where do the Bucks come in against quarterbacks? I will tell you in a minute. They're bad. 26 against the position. They're not good. Where do they come in against running backs? They're bad. They're also 26 against running backs. Interesting. So I still think Hurts can put something together here. But if I go Jaden Daniels, he gets the Cardinals. That should be a game with points. Chuba, McLaurin, and full PPR. I'll go McLaurin. Braylon Allen, Pittman, or Tucker. Jeez. Oh my gosh, an aggressive yawn. Oh gosh, I don't really trust like just throwing Braylon Allen blindly into our lineups. Broncos right in the middle, 17th against running backs. But do I feel good about Pittman against the Steelers? No way. No way. To me, Trey Tucker is like a desperation start. Browns have struggled against wide receivers, 20th against position. I know he's coming off the big game, but he's done nothing other than that on the season. Tucker's the upside play. I'll leave it at that. I guess, yeah. I guess I might lean Trey Tucker. I don't trust Pittman. Allen, I can see why you'd want to go Braylon Allen here, but give me the upside in Tucker. But there's risk with all three of those guys. Joshua, Moss, or Ayuk. Give me Moss against the Panthers. Should I put in Xavier Leggett in full PPR over Garrett Wilson? No. No. I get it. It's a bad matchup for Garrett Wilson, but we got to take the volume here. Let's see what Leggett does this week. Good stash, but no, not quite yet. Sport Dog, for my other 8-team standard, I got Kyler or Lamar. Who would you favor? Good game scripts for both these guys this week. I think I go Lamar. He's a QB4. Kyler's a QB7. The Bills are giving up the 6th fewest points to the quarterback position. Commanders are dead last. Give me Kyler. Let's go Kyler. But you can't really go wrong here, man. Start Akers if Mixon's out over Ford. Yes, but I really like Ford this week. Ford's still a super solid start. But yeah, this Jags defense. Yeah. Dalton Schultz with Dell out or Zach Ertz. I'll go Zach Ertz. Schultz hasn't done anything this year, so give me Ertz. Love or Baker. I'm a little worried about Baker against the Eagles. A little worried about Love as well. I'll go Baker because he's not coming off an injury, but it's a coin flip. Ramondre Akers. I don't want to read like too much into the week 3 performance from Ramondre because he should bounce back. I mean, even against the Niners, he's got a big opportunity to bounce back because his Niners run defense has been really bad. They're the 10th worst defense against running backs in fantasy. But I really like Akers if Mixon doesn't play because the Jags are even worse. Jaguars are 28th against running backs. Tommy, I really thought Vita Bowl wasn't a word. I don't know why. Henry Likely or Higgins? Higgins. It's not Derrick Henry, right? It's Hunter Henry. Higgins. All right, let me get caught up here. Drafted Mooney, dropped him, and picked him up. Yeah. Good moves by you. All right, happy. We got a Dunze, Jennings, or Deontay. Start 2 of them. This is an interesting one. Because the Dunze's got a great matchup. Jennings coming off the big game. Decent matchup. Deontay coming off the big game. It's crazy how things change so quickly. Like all 3 of these guys would have been sits going into week 3. I'll look at volume. I'll go Deontay. I'll look at matchup. I'll go Roma Dunze. But if you want to go Jennings over either guy, I could see Jennings over Roma Dunze as fine. For sure. JSC having a little bit of a party at wide receiver. No Adams, no Puka. Yikes. Got Xavier and Rashid Shaheed. If Olave plays, should I play him despite potential limited action? Yes. I prefer Shaheed over Leggett, even if Olave plays. I think this is a type of situation, though, if you had to start Xavier Leggett, that's okay. That's okay. I don't prefer it, but if you have to, it is okay. Struggling at wide receiver with A.J. Brown and the Waddle quarterback situation, says Jelly of the Month. Trade Kyler for Reed. Other quarterback is Jaden Daniels. I'm fine with that. I mean, I might honestly prefer Kyler if like you can trade Jaden Daniels instead. But I'm okay with both options here. I mean, I think you have a good enough quarterback room that if you need to do this, sure, go for it. Whatever. You know, you're selling high on either quarterback here. Nothing wrong with that because you have the depth and you need help at wide receiver. So Jaden Reed will be better with Love at quarterback. The offense will look very different. And you just go from there. Go and get yourself a startable wide receiver with the injuries. Bunny Hop, good to see you. Go Pack, go. Tarek taking a 50-yarder to the crib. I hope so. I hope so. Hope it's good with Huntley at quarterback. M0OW1NZ. PPR, pick 2. Jennings, assuming Debo plays, or Akers, assuming Mixon sits. Or Michael Wilson or B. Tom. I guess that's the other thing with Jawan Jennings is Debo might play, which really downgrades Jennings. Akers if Mixon sits and Michael Wilson due to matchup is what I prefer, but I think B. Tom's okay. Jennings if Debo plays, I just don't. I feel very worried. So prefer Akers because of the matchup if Mixon sits, and I prefer Michael Wilson because of the matchup. Full PPR, Worthy or Waddle? It's still Waddle for me. Still Waddle. Space Ghost, I'm starting Jones, Gibbs, Diggs. Could start Reed and flex Najee, sit Garrett Wilson if I'm scared of Pat Surtain. Jones, Gibbs, Diggs. Yeah, I would go Reed and Najee. I'd sit Garrett Wilson in this circumstance. You've got enough players here that you can sit Garrett Wilson. Should I start Kenneth or Cam Akers? The matchups with Cam Akers, the better player is Kenneth Walker. But I might go Akers. I might. The Jags are that bad. I mean, they're literally that bad. So, and the Lions are just that good. I mean, literally that good. They're giving up the fewest fantasy points to the running back position. If you want to take the player and Kenneth Walker, perfectly fine. I mean, of course, Kenneth Walker can stumble into the end zone. We all know that. But his ceiling is going to be limited against the Lions. That's what's tough here. Cam Akers, I mean, he's still got to sit around and wait and see if he's even going to be the RB1, because if he's not, and if it's Mixon, then obviously we digress. So definitely have to wait and see. I mean, I think the other thing with Walker is he's coming off the injury, which makes me a little bit nervous. So I guess I lean Akers, but if you go Walker, I'm fine with that. Tyler, you were a huge help last week with your advice. I really appreciate it. I appreciate you, Tyler. Chuba was a hit, and Braylon was solid for me in half PPR. Good. Hope you got the dub. Happy to help. Is Mixon still questionable? Yes. Just picked up Akers again to start over Swift. Yeah. We still don't. I mean, it's been trending in the negative direction for Mixon, but we'll just have to wait and see. Unfortunately, desperately trying to get rid of Swift. I don't know if it's going to happen anytime soon. It's a good matchup for Swift this week, but it's going to be Swift. It's going to be Roschon. It's going to be Herbert. It's going to be all three. It's going to be none of them. I hate the Bears. Who should I start? Chuba or Pollard? I lean Pollard. This defense for the Miami Dolphins against the run is just god awful. Could flex J-Mo Jennings or Braylon Allen over McLaurin. I prefer McLaurin here. Give me McLaurin. Tyler got offered JSN and Walker for AJ Brown and Mostert. Lamar, Debo, Pickens, Lockett, JT, Chuba, Fergie, Randall, Braylon, Mooney, Chandler. So that'd make your wide receivers Debo, Pickens, JSN, Lockett, Randall, Mooney. And then you get Kenneth Walker, JT, and Chuba. I think I hold AJ Brown. I think if you just got a little bit of a tier up at wide receiver, like if it was Cooper or DJ Moore, then I'd say yeah. But and like I like JSN and I like JSN this week against the Lions, but not when AJ Brown's departing. Maybe if Kenneth hadn't been hurt, I think I hold AJ Brown here. When healthy, AJ Brown is the best player here. Bunny Hop, I haven't shown you a lineup this year for my main league 10-man. Kyler, Jacobs, Kamara, Marvin Harrison, Tyreek Hill, Fergie, Mason, James Cook. Nice. Benches J Love, Chuba, Judy, Smitty, Dobbs. Should I drop Dobbs or Judy for Mooney? I think I would hold Dobbs because he can definitely see a higher ceiling when your boy Jordan Love is back. If you're going to drop one, it's Judy. I think I prefer Mooney over Judy, but it's still close. Like Judy was still good the first 2 weeks of the season. And I'll say this much, the Browns' upcoming schedule for wide receivers is super solid. So Judy could continue to have some nice games. Let's see. They're going to play the Raiders, the Commanders, the Eagles, the Bengals, the Ravens, Chargers. So basically up until that week 9 matchup against the Chargers, you got some super solid matchups. But I think the better offense with the Falcons. But yeah, I think I'd hold on to Dobbs if I were you. Team looks very good though. Should I trade CMC if I fall to 2-2? I mean, 2-2 is not awful. It feels bad, but you can be 0-4 and make the playoffs, you know. So I don't want to act like 2-2 is like a death sentence, you know. But if you I mean, I'm very worried about Christian McCaffrey in terms of the fantasy season. Very worried. So if you want to make the move here, sure. But I don't think it's really because, indicated by your record, I guess I'll say. But I'm worried about Christian McCaffrey for the fantasy season. DX Tiss. Starters, Daniels, Henry, Mason, Cooper, DK, Gesicki, Chuba. Not bad. On the bench, we got A-Rich, J.K. Dobbins, Steele, Adams, Terry, McBride. IR is Chubb, Brooks, and CMC. It's a pretty solid team. Only thing I would consider is Terry in the flex if it's full PPR over Chuba. But if you want to go Chuba, I do like Chuba. I feel like I've almost been down on Chuba tonight, but I like Chuba. I don't believe in the Bengals, like whatsoever. This defense does not scare me. So if you want to go Chuba, that's okay. If you want to go Terry, I think that's okay. The team's very solid. Good team. Yeah, I know. It is weird. The Bengals, suck. And sometimes, I always go by fantasy points scored when I'm looking at our matchups on a week-to-week basis. But sometimes game script kind of overshadows that. Like, if a defense is playing, like the Panthers are a good example. The Panthers, let me see where they come in. Okay, they've dropped. The Panthers, the first 2 or 3 weeks were top 10 against the wide receiver position. But part of that was because they're giving up so many points to the running back position that teams didn't need to throw against them. Now they've dropped from last week's performance to their 22nd against wide receivers. But yeah, sometimes game script plays in here. Bengals have had a weird start to the season. Ayuk has been the definition of a letdown for sure. Yeah, I don't want to say Ayuk is a no-brainer. But I'm going to give him one more week here as a start and just leave it at that. Should I drop Likely or Lockett for Randall, Tucker, Michael Wilson, Leggett, Mingo, McCaffrey, or Roshan Johnson? I mean, there's a lot of players here. Not Mingo. I'm not. Luke McCaffrey, I'm not there yet. I get it. Got a little bit more involvement last week, and offense is opening up. Someone's got to step up. Someone's got to be the wide receiver 2 on this team in theory, right? Michael Wilson, like, here's the thing, guys. Michael Wilson, for me, I do like. I've talked about him, earlier in the season and everything, and I like him this week. He's a great play this week against the Commanders, but is he like a guy we're going to depend on every week and have a ton of faith in starting? No, the ceiling's still low. I like Randall Robinson the best. Is he going to help you this week? No. But I've talked about Randall Robinson every week on the waiver video, and I think pretty soon here we're not going to be able to talk about him. You can move on from Likely if you need to. Unless you spent like half your free agent bidding on Likely. At that point, you're stuck. I mean, you're not, but yes, I did that in like one league. So, I think Robinson's the best overall player here. And then if you want a good stash, I think Roshan Johnson's worth stashing. But there's an argument for any of those guys. I think the top guys I go after are Robinson and Johnson. But I could be wrong on the Johnson thing. He's just got a great matchup, but like, yeah, Bears still suck. So there's 2 other running backs there too. Oz also has T-Hawk. Yeah, I mean, you got Andrews and Hawk. I think you're okay. Kona built. What's going on? Drop 1. Ford. Don't drop Ford. Brooks. Don't drop Brooks. Dowdle. Ridley. Sit 1. I was like, wait, don't drop any of these players. Wait, you got to drop one of those. Don't drop Ford or Brooks, I guess. And I guess Dowdle. I know Dowdle just had a decent game where he scored a touchdown, but I mean, really, if it's coming down to this, like, Dowdle's still worth rostering for most parts because he has standalone value. I mean, he sucks, don't get me wrong. He's touchdown dependent, but if Zeke goes down, like, Dowdle's getting all the touches. And Zeke's been bad. You got to get a touchdown out of one of these Cowboys running backs to get double digits. So, but Brooks has upside. Is coming back soon. Don't drop Ford, and I'm not worried about Nick Chubb's return. Don't drop Ford. I guess it's Dowdle, but I'm not saying that Dowdle is not worth rostering. But I like the other 2 options more. And yeah, I'm not worried about Chubb. Sit 1. Ridley, Pittman, Akers. Just sit. Just sit, Pittman. Tucker or Myers? Myers. The volume's still going to be better for Myers. Mayo or mustard on a hot dog? Mustard. Depends on the mood. Mustard. Sport Dog. I picked up Jawan Jennings this week. I'm flexing him in both my 8-team leagues. Do you see him staying in the lineup after this week, or do I drop him? Fully dependent on Deebo Samuel's health and if he's playing. Which you got to pay attention to. I mean, Deebo might play this week. Should I start Derek Carr or pick up Caleb, asks Barbara. My backup is Love. If he doesn't play Carr or Williams. Honestly, I'd probably just start Caleb Williams. I think he has a really good floor this week. This Rams defense is really bad. Really struggled against the pass. They're giving up the second most fantasy points to quarterbacks. Carr, we're worried about the floor. What do we get out of Carr? It's hard. Love, it's a bad matchup. He's coming back from injury. I'd play Caleb Williams. Keep Jordan Love, though, but I play Caleb Williams. You can drop Carr I think if you have, Carr will probably emerge back on the waiver wire if you really feel like you need to fight for him again. Secret, need a flex, full PPR, Shakir, Garrett Wilson, or Jacob starting. AK and Connor leaning Shakir. Yes, Shakir for sure. Shakir's a must start for me. It's DK, it doesn't really matter, but yeah. Shakir, Ravens, Sunday Night Football, great matchup, points. I like Shakir a lot this week. He's been very good too. Barba, Shakir, Reed, Pickens, or Olave. Shakir and Jaden Reed. I do like Pickens this week. It's a good matchup for him. If Olave plays, Olave and Shakir. But don't be too hard pressed here. You have good starts no matter what. Shakir stands out due to matchup and game script and all of that good stuff. But yeah, don't be too panicked here because you're in a good spot no matter what. No matter what. Burrow hurts. Pick up Darnold. No, just start Burrow. Good matchup for Burrow. Just start Burrow. Panthers 25th against quarterback position. Burrow. We're going to go Hurts. I won't be mad. He's still Jalen Hurts, but the matchup lies with Burrow. And Hurts missing his top 2 pass catchers. Space Ghost. Coast to coast. Lamb, Diggs, London, Rome, Allen, Johnson have A-Chain. Would it be dumb to try to go for Hill? No, but I still prefer keeping Lamb, Diggs, and London, and I think you got to give up one of them, so. No, but you're probably going to lose one of those 3 guys, and don't lose Lamb. Full PPR, start one running back in a flex. Jacobs, Dobbins, Najee, Moss, Garrett Wilson. I start Zach Moss. And probably Najee. I'll take the matchups. Moss and Najee. Calvin Austin, not startable for me. We got to see more of a consistent pattern emerge. Good last week. But other than that, and really other than the big play, he hasn't done anything this year. So nah. Okay, we got this one. Trade Pittman for Bowers? Yes, in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat. I got nothing to do with Michael Pittman right now. I don't want to be anywhere near Michael Pittman. Bowers, you can just start at tight end and not think about the position all year long. Go for it. Bunny Hop, I'm 3-0. I've been able to sit Hill last week and Smitty this week. Nice. And comfortably because I snagged Mason. Also had a lot of faith in my running backs this offseason. They're panning out. Let's go. Love to hear it, bro. Love to hear it. Starting 3-0 feels so good. It's a long season, boys. But starting 3-0 just feels so good. Oz, you don't believe in the Bengals? I do. I don't believe in their defense. Offense is fine. I mean, I prefer the bad defense in fantasy to correlate to a good offense because the defense is bad. Offense has to stay out there and try to score points. So yeah, I'm good at the. I'm good at the Bengals offense. Their defense sucks. Love or Dalton? What's up, Master Vader? I probably would personally start Jordan Love, but if you want to go Andy Dalton, that's okay. I think that we get a potentially lower ceiling out of Dalton this week for sure, but he's probably still solid. I feel like they match up against the Bengals pretty well. So that's kind of my reaction here. It's just like, nah. I'd probably personally start Love, but I do have concerns about Jordan Love this weekend. Start Jacoby or Romadunze, I'm assuming. I'd rather start Romadunze due to matchup. Jacoby for a floor, Romadunze for upside. Start Phillies defense? No, they're bad. Titans, Bengals, Broncos. You could take a shot on the Titans, but I would take a shot on the Titans here. Yeah. Who else is out there? Asking again, and thank you for the help. Second team starters. You're welcome, bro. No worries. Daniels, Mixon, Pollard, CD, Harrison, Gasecki, Deontay, benches, Hurts, Chuba, Cup, Terry, McBride, Pickens. This is another pretty solid team, man. Daniels, Mixon, Pollard, I'm good with. CD, Marvin, no brainers. Marvin Harrison Jr. against the Commanders is like, oh my gosh. Gasecki will get you enough with McBride out. You probably don't love that, but it's fine. I like Deontay in the flex here. Pickens does have a good matchup. Terry's fine. Chuba's fine. It's a very good roster, but I think I like your starting lineup. Who should I start, Shakir or Jackson Smith and Jigba? I do like both this week. This matchup fits JSN very well, but I gotta go Shakir. Gotta go Shakir. He's one of my must-start players of the week. But actually, hold myself accountable, so is JSN. But Shakir is like my actual must-start, other than Marvin Harrison Jr. If we're looking back at the video earlier in the week. So, how do you think Dunze is going to do with Keenan playing this week? So technically, Keenan Allen is still questionable, but he's trending towards playing. Well, it's the Rams, so every wide receiver could score. I mean, like, I think Romadunze will be fine. I have a feeling that Keenan Allen could drop back a little bit in this overall rank in terms of the pass catchers on this team. But yeah, I think Romadunze has the upside here. The Rams secondary is just, I mean, they're god awful, guys. God awful. Do you think Laporta will do good this week, or should I put Conklin in? Yeah, I would start Laporta. If you own Laporta, just roll him out there. It's a good matchup. Good game script. I'd start Laporta. Conklin's okay. I start Laporta. Albert, good to see you, bro. What up? Mateo, my lineup this week is Allen, Kyron, Monty, Ayuk, Deontay, Kittle, Ramondre, the Jets, and Jake Moody. Pretty nice. Benches Ridley, Waddle, Keenan, Leggett, Ertz, and Herbert. AJ Brown is out. No, I don't think I'd make any changes. Waddle is debatable. Could go Waddle in the flex. I think I'd stick with Ramondre, though. That's fine. Either way, it's fine. But the rest of the roster looks good. Your boy, I got McBride. He's out. Who should I drop to pick up? Fields, Chase Brown, Steeler, Hawk. Probably it's whoever you are less confident in between Chase Brown and Steele. Like, I feel like having the second tight end on this, or excuse me, second quarterback on this team is important. I mean, do you not have? I mean, it makes sense if you don't have an open IR spot for Hawkinson because so many players are hurt right now. But it's between Chase Brown and Steele, whoever you like less. So I don't know that Chase Brown's ever going to be a guy that we really feel great about starting unless we see injury to Zach Moss. Myers or Wilson. I mean, we should get wide receiver 1 volume out of both these guys. If you want the matchup, it's Myers. Otherwise, you go Wilson. Would you pick up a tight end this week? Strange, Parkinson's, Kraft, Otten. I go Strange and Hill. I'm not there with Hill. I know some people are. I'll go Strange. You also got Colts, Titans, Broncos, Lions, Bucks, Hawks. Hawks or Titans? Titans for upside, Hawks for a floor, but not great options here. Bucker or Money Mac? Has Bucker even been good this year? From like a fantasy perspective, yeah, he's kicker 9. Money Mac's kicker 11. I'll go Bucker because the Chargers are one of these teams that might bend but not break. Thoughts on the Chiefs defense? Love them this week, even with Herbert playing. Love them all week. Think they're a great start. In a 10-teamer, who should I play in the flex? Ayuk, Walker, or London? I go London if it's full PPR, but everyone here is fine. Trade away Dobbins and Jaden Daniels for Bijan. I'm okay with that if you're good. Yeah, you got Kyler. I'm okay with this. I like Dobbins, but I'd much rather have Bijan. I like Jaden Daniels, but you got Kyler, so you're fine. Good trade. Good trade. All right, guys, we made it to the bottom of the chat. So we'll go ahead and wrap up for the night. If you guys need anything last second, throw it in here. But I will be on tomorrow night before the games start. Excuse me, tomorrow morning before the games start. And tomorrow night we'll have our weekly panic video. And then waiver wire will come out first thing Monday. Our must-start defenses for week 5. Can you guys believe we're already in week 5? Come out Monday as well. So we'll just hop back into our regular schedule. Start set running backs, wide receivers Tuesday, quarterbacks tight end Wednesday morning. We'll start kickers Wednesday night, and all the rest of your content over the next couple of days after that. So we'll keep rolling, ladies and gents. Make sure you guys hit the like on the way out, and I'll get to these last couple questions while we wrap up. Why are the Hawks a good floor? It doesn't seem like they're doing that good. They're the defense 7 in fantasy. 10 points week 1, 6 week 2, 15 in week 3. So, like, they're just, I don't really love them on the road against Detroit, but they probably bring you a safe floor of like 6, 7 points. They're probably not going to have 15 points. You know, they played Denver with Bo Nix at his worst in week 1, and last week played Skylar Thompson and Tim Boyle. So, probably more of a floor play this week. But you just don't have great options, man. Just don't have great options there. So the upside's with the Titans. But now they're playing Tyler Huntley. I mean, I don't know if I feel as good about that. Playing this week in the Catch Family. Who should I play? Hopkins, Lockett, Komet, or Michael Wilson? Truthfully, if it was me, I will play Michael Wilson. Lockett, there's an argument for against Detroit's secondary. I probably wouldn't flex the tight end, but Komet's okay. I don't trust Hopkins. I know he was good last week. I don't trust him. If it was me, I'd just start the player playing the Commanders. Thoughts on this Dynasty Superflex trade? Dak in the mid 2025 first for A-Rich 2027 first. I'm good with that either way. This is a fair trade. It's a fair trade. So it kind of depends on each team's circumstances and their rosters, but this is a good trade. Fair trade. If you're kind of win now, I guess I prefer Dak, but where I'm not completely out on Anthony Richardson yet. So it's a good trade. Oh, the Falcons, my bad. Falcons have not been good defensively. Yeah, I don't like the Falcons this week. Did I say I like the Falcons this week? Oh, well, I think maybe you said Hawks and I assume Seahawks. I don't like the Falcons. So I'd probably go the Titans. Some people do like the Colts against the Steelers, but I don't. The line, yeah. I would start the Titans and hope for turnovers against Tyler Huntley. Kyle, what's up, bro? Love you, dog. Your boy, you're welcome. Ford or ETN? I'll take the matchup. I'll go Jerome Ford. Close. You could go ETN. Feel weird about the Jaguars right now. They're both good plays, safe plays. Traded Dunze and Chuba for Mike Evans. Depends on your roster, but if you want to do it, that's fine. Chuba could see a decrease in volume the next couple of weeks with Brooks coming back. Roma Dunze is still going to be volatile, but he's got a great opportunity this week. Trade Kamara and Cooper for Connor and AJ Brown. I mean, the player that I want the most here is AJ Brown. But overall, I think I prefer Kamara and Cooper's side because Cooper's ceiling is still high. Still volatile, but he has high ceiling weeks. We saw that last week. And I prefer Kamara over Connor still. If you want to do it, depending on your roster, I'm okay with it. But AJ Brown is the best player here. Are you starting Kenneth Walker this week? If you need to, you can. It's a bad matchup. It's the worst possible matchup. The Lions are giving up the fewest fantasy points to running backs. It's the worst possible matchup. But if you have to start Walker, I think you can. I just, I mean, it's not a good matchup. You're probably looking at a low ceiling this week, especially with him coming off injury. Like, they're probably still going to give touches to Zach Charbonnet in this game. So, Charbs, Walker, or, kind of stayaways for me. Unless you have to. If you have to, whatever, It is weird, Kyle. If you go ETN, I'm okay with that. Are you worried about Kamara? No. Oh, playing? The injury? Maybe, yes. Am I worried if he plays? No. But yes, I am worried because last I checked, it's still up in the air. You're welcome, JD3. Jaden Daniels 3. Are the Lions a good defense? Not really. They're the defense 17. I mean, Seattle hasn't been a bad offense, so maybe the Lions are playing a bad offense. They got Seattle, Dallas, Minnesota, Green Bay, Houston. Not until week 11 against Jacksonville or week 12 against Indy would I really want to start them. You know? They were not good last year. Their defense 25 in fantasy last year. The run defense is good, but their pass defense has improved, but it's not good. Yeah, kind of in a pickle there at defense. Should I drop McLaughlin for Elliott, Boswell, Bass, or Austin Serbert, or keep McLaughlin? McLaughlin's fine, but I like Chris Boswell a lot. And he's been super solid. And the Steelers don't like to score touchdowns. So I mean, you know, my guess is as good as yours comes to these kickers, but Boswell's the kicker too. The big week 1, the 9.7 points. I like Boswell. But Bass is good too. I mean, it's between those two for me. Just wondering if I should trade Kamara before he potentially gets ruled out or aggravates his injury even more. I mean, the thing is, you know, we're speculating here. It's all speculative. It's tough to do this. You can really say this about any player. You know what I mean? So I would just look at Kamara as like a player who's been just really, really good this year and kind of stick with that. Should I pick up Javonte? No. Just no. There's a reason he was dropped. Just it's a no for me, dog. No. Staying away from that backfield like it's the Grinch. Who should I start as a flex? 12-man standard, Waddle, Reed, or Addison? Standard, I'll go Reed for the touchdown upside. Waddle, I think, will be better with Huntley. And I do like Addison. Give me Jaden Reed, though. Most upside. Set 1, Walker, Shakir, Rome, Chuba. See, that's tough, man, because I love Shakir this week. I think he's a must start. Dunze's got a lot of upside against the Rams, even with Keenan Allen coming back potentially. Chuba's probably just a good, solid start, you know. Like, this might be a situation where I sit Kenneth Walker, call me crazy, but it's a bad matchup. He's coming off an injury. If you don't feel great about Roma Dunze, I think he could be benched here, but I'd probably start Shakir and Chuba here. It's PPR. I'd definitely start Shakir. And maybe go with Dunze. I might really sit Kenneth Walker. I know it sounds crazy, but rate my top guys for a 12-man redraft. Got Godwin, Tyreek, A-Chain, Mahomes, Neighbors, McLaurin, Pat, Najee with Aubrey. Aubrey's your top player. I'm kidding. He might be. I mean, Godwin's been great. Tyreek and A-Chain should be fine. Neighbors has been great. Neighbors and Godwin are your best players. So who's your Najee's your RB2? Yeah, Neighbors is the guy who stands out when healthy. Hopefully he's not out for the concussion, unless he needs to be. I have Pacheco, Cook, Dowdle, and Pirine. Oh, gosh. Did you start Dowdle? Probably had to, right? Cook and Dowdle? It was James Cook, not Dalvin Cook, right? Minnesota versus Vegas, as in should you start Minnesota or Vegas defense? Minnesota for sure. They're the highest scoring defense in fantasy, and Vegas is the second lowest. Packers versus Vikings. You know, I'm glad someone brought this up because I've gone back and forth on, like, there's a league that I play in, you know, with defensive special team slots, and I'm starting the Vikings, but I'm like, I also kind of like the Packers who are available. I go the Vikings. Could be wrong. I do think that's kind of a coin flip. The Vikings are the defense 1 in fantasy. The Packers are the defense 2. $21 CJV. Have Kyler and Jaden. Every time I start them based on projection, the other quarterback scores more. This is the problem with having good quarterbacks. More than one good quarterback on your team is this happens. Like, it just happens. I prefer just to have one quarterback I roll with. And sometimes getting closer to the playoffs, I might roster more. to keep away good quarterbacks from other players in my league mates. Yeah, this just sucks. It happens. It's probably going to keep happening. But they're both, at the end of the day, you got two solid starts. You know what I mean? Vikings or Bills? I mean, honestly, probably the Vikings. I mean, at some point, they're going to come back to earth a bit, right? Let's see. They get Green Bay, the Jets, a bye week, the Lions, the Rams, the Colts, the Jags. That stretch, Rams, Colts, Jags, Titans, Bears. Really nice. Then they're going to get the Cardinals, the Falcons, the Bears, Seattle, Green Bay. It's fine. It's probably the Vikings. The Bills. I feel like theirs is tougher. Baltimore, Houston, Jets, Titans, Seattle, Miami, Indy. You got Kansas City, the Niners, Rams, Lions, New England, the Jets. It's not that bad. Very close. I mean, they're the defense 3. They looked great. I think I'll say Vikings, but the Bills, I mean, I could see the Bills here too. Start Cooper over Wilson. Yeah, I'm kind of low on Garrett Wilson this week. So, who do you think are the best upside wide receivers for a standard league? I mean, it really, like, for this week on the season, not including top tier guys, you're really just looking at touchdown upside. Really, touchdown upside is just going to be super important. It depends on what tiers we're looking at. Like, if we're looking at the total season or just this week, because like guys like Chris Godwin, Rashee Rice are just scoring touchdowns every week, or like really high. Like Khalil Shakir is really high, you know. Like for this week, Michael Wilson might be a really good option because he plays the Commanders. Overall, best like JJ, CeeDee Lamb, you know. Josh has a problem. My team is full. I still need to pick up a defense. Who do I drop? JSN Ridley, Keenan, Bucky, BTJ, Ingram. Call me crazy, but I don't trust Keenan Allen. I just don't. I just don't trust Keenan Allen. I would probably, I mean, maybe if you have a good tight end, you could move on from Ingram, but I probably wouldn't. I would probably drop Keenan Allen if it's me. Tough choice. Started Dowdle. Can I start him until Pacheco comes back or pick up Javonte? I'd rather start Dowdle than Javonte. I'd rather start Dowdle. I don't like the Broncos backfield. And now Tyler Batty's getting touches. Joe, Mooney, Myers, Michael Wilson. Ooh, look at that. Some nice end of the week pickups here. I'm in on Michael Wilson this week, but Mooney and Myers have safer floors. Rest of the season, yeah. So it depends. Like you really just want to look for a touchdown upside, like I said. So obviously, guys in that top tier, like Chase, JJ Lamb, Hill, Amon-Ra, like of course all those guys are going to be good. If we're moving down tiers, like Mike Evans, still great because he scores a lot of touchdowns, even though the past 2 weeks have sucked. Nico Collins, Deebo Samuel, Metcalf. Obviously, guys that are coming up like Neighbors and MH, and still like Flowers, even though he had a down week last week. Cooper, side, Rashee Rice, Roma Dunze, Chris Godwin. You're just looking for guys that are scoring touchdowns, and we still have limited data for the year, but standard, you really want those touchdowns, right? Well, looking at my league, I don't know if you remember my squad, but was thinking about trying to trade Lamar and JT for Mahomes and Kyron. I don't like this trade. I don't like this trade. I prefer Lamar, and I do like Kyron, but I mean, JT's the RB6, Kyron's the RB5. Like, this is maybe Kyron has more upside, but this is still a wash. It's a tough week this week for JT, but then he gets the Jags, the Titans, the Dolphins. Like, no, I prefer the Lamar JT side for sure. I mean, listen, Mahomes is still Mahomes. Don't get me wrong. But the better fantasy quarterback so far on the year and last year is Lamar. So it's going to be a no for me, dog. All right, guys, made it to the bottom of the chat again. Thank you guys for all the fantasy questions tonight. I'm going to go ahead and hop off of here. I'll be back on again tomorrow before the games. Anything last second, go ahead and get it in. Every time I'm about to get off, I feel like someone's coming in here. So I want to sign off too quickly here. But I will be back on tomorrow before the games. You guys can, of course, drop a comment on any of the videos for the week. I'm going to clear out all the comments tonight. And then once again, before the games tomorrow, I know I have a lot of comments to get to. I didn't get to any comments on today's video yet. Usually Saturdays, I just spend the whole day with my daughter and don't do anything fantasy related until I get on and stream. So I got a lot of comments to get to. If you guys want to add to those comments on the videos for the week, please feel free to do so. Braylon versus Sutton. The floor is with Sutton. Sutton finally has a good week. Bo Nix looked actually pretty good last week. Do I particularly trust Sutton, though? No. Sutton's got the Jets. I'll go Braylon Allen. I think it's going to be a tough week for Bo Nix and company. I think Sutton's going to be touchdown dependent this week. I don't really know what Braylon Allen is, but you know, he's got standalone value. Where did the Broncos even come in against running backs? 17th. They're not great. I'll go Braylon Allen. All right, ladies and gentlemen, hit the like on the way out. I'll be back on tomorrow before the games. Go check out the videos for the week. Go drop me a comment if you guys need anything on one of the videos, and I'll get back to you tonight or tomorrow morning. And that'll do it for tonight's stream. Great stream tonight. Thank you guys so much for all the fantasy questions. Really appreciate it. Really appreciate you guys hanging out. Good luck to everyone this week if I don't talk to you before the games. And that'll do it for the night. Thank you to anyone who subscribed to the channel during the stream. Got everything you guys need on the channel for the week. Let's go check out the videos for the week as well. All right, we'll be back at it tomorrow. Love you guys, man. Love this community. Love the Catch fam. Everyone be safe. Have a great rest of your weekend. Good luck tomorrow if I don't talk to you. And with that, I'll say thank you guys so much for watching and or listening. And remember, you saw it here on the Catch, and peace. Bonus question, Braylon Allen or Carson Steele? Braylon Allen.